Welcome to today's market news, where we go over some of today's highlights. Softbank Vision Fund considering listing a $300 million European tech SPAC. Gojek to merge with Tokopedia to create Indonesian tech giant. And lastly, Michael Burry of The Big Short reveals a $530 million bet against Tesla. We have a lot to unpack in this video. You don't want to miss this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified for my latest videos. Also, make sure to check out the links under the description of this video to get access to my private Discord and other great investing apps. Softbank Vision Fund considering listing a $300 million European tech SPAC. Some of the key takeaways: technology dealmaker eyes blank check listing in Amsterdam. Latest SPAC would target European technology investments. Softbank Group Corp, the technology dealmaker founded by billionaire Masayoshi Son, is considering listing a special purpose acquisition company in Europe. The Japanese conglomerate Vision Fund is discussing plans to raise capital for a blank check company on the Amsterdam exchange later this year. It is considering seeking about 250 million euros, around $304 million, from the deal, though the target hasn't been finalized. The SPAC would hunt for investments in the European technology industry and other high-growth areas. Deliberations are at an early stage, and the details of the potential listing could change. Blank check companies have completed $102 billion of US initial public offerings this year, while $3.6 billion has been raised on European exchanges. Softbank has embraced the boom, with various arms of the Japanese conglomerate raising a combined of $3.3 billion for 9 US listed SPACs during the latest financial year. The pace of European listings has started rising as activity in New York slows, with British dealmaker Ian Osborne among the latest to raise funds on the continent. Dieter Wemmer, the former chief financial officer at Alliance SE, is also planning a blank check company in Amsterdam targeting insurance deals. It seems like the SPAC juice has been squeezed from the United States and flying over to Amsterdam. Gojek to merge with Tokopedia to create Indonesia tech giant. This is one story I've been following for several months now. It seems like a deal is here. Some of the key takeaways: ride-hailing provider e-commerce operator to combine into one. Merge entity GoTo plans to go public at home and in the US. Ride-hailing and payment giant Gojek agreed to combine with e-commerce pioneer PT Tokopedia to create the largest internet company in Indonesia, before seeking a stock market debut at home and in the US. The combined entity is set to form a powerhouse in the world's fourth most populous nation, encompassing businesses from a car sharing and fintech to online shopping and delivery. The startup said Monday they will form a holding company called GoTo through a deal backed by shareholders including Google and Alibaba Group Holding, without providing a valuation. Gojek and Tokopedia are betting a large size will help them better compete against rivals such as Sea Limited and Grab Holdings Inc. as so-called super apps gain popularity in Southeast Asia, a region of more than 650 million people. The two companies together were valued at about $18 billion during their merger talks, with Gojek shareholders set to receive 58% of the new entity's ownership and Tokopedia holders the rest. It's a union of equals, Gojek co-chief executive officer Andre Solestillo, who will head the combined app giant, said during a media conference via Zoom, "We are creating probably the first platform in the world that combines very distinctive platforms, e-commerce, on-demand, and financial services into one large ecosystem." GoTo will pursue a listing by the end of 2021, with a goal of having its shares traded in both Jakarta and the US. Tokopedia president Patrick Cao told reporters, "The company is considering all options, including an initial public offering and a deal with a special purpose acquisition company," he said. The target valuation in the public markets is between $35 billion and $40 billion. A listing would give global investors another opportunity to bet on one of the world's fastest growing internet economies. Shares of Sea, the only major Southeast Asian internet company traded in the US, have more than tripled over the past year, boosted by the growing popularity of its online shopping platform, Shopee, and mobile gaming service. Gojek and Tokopedia have been in discussions for a possible merger since late December after Gojek's negotiations with rival Grab collapsed. Grab last month agreed to go public in the US through a combination with Altimeter Growth Corp, the largest ever merger with a blank check company. This will strike a blow at Grab's lofty aspirations, given GoTo suddenly becomes a larger, more diverse entity, said Angus McIntosh, founder of Cross ASEAN Research. Shopee remains a significant competitor in Indonesia in an increasingly number of areas, but now has a bigger competitor in the combined entity. Tokopedia and Gojek estimates the combined market for on-demand transport and delivery services, e-commerce and fintech in Southeast Asia at $134 billion in 2020. GoTo by the numbers. Total gross transaction value of more than $22 billion in 2020. Over 1.8 billion transactions in 2020. A combined registered driver fleet of over 2 million as of December. More than 11 million merchants partners as of December. Monthly active users in excess of 100 million. An ecosystem it says encompasses 2% of Indonesia's GDP. Tokopedia's Kao will retain the president's title at the new entity, working side by side with Group CEO Solisteo. William Tanuwaya, CEO of Tokopedia, will continue to lead the online shopping pioneer he founded in 2009, while Gojek co-founder Kevin Alui will continue to helm ride-hailing and delivery giant Gojek. Solisteo will also head the payments and financial services unit GoTo Financial. Gojek co-CEO to head app giant after merger with Tokopedia. Goldman Sachs Group Inc. is advising Gojek, while Citigroup Inc. is assisting Tokopedia. After several months of these two companies potentially merging, it's official. They are merging and will now be named GoTo. We are still waiting to see how they will enter the American markets via traditional IPO or SPAC merger. Michael Burry of The Big Short reveals a $530 million bet against Tesla. That's $500 million. I just took a look at Michael Burry's portfolio and he's short bonds, short Tesla, long energy, and long consumer staples. Very defensive portfolio. Some of the key takeaways. Michael Burry is long puts against 800,100 shares of Tesla or $530 million by the end of the first quarter, according to the filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Burry was one of the first investors to call in profit from the subprime mortgage crisis. Burry previously mentioned in a tweet that Tesla's reliance on regulatory credits to generate profits is also an impediment to the company's long-term prospects. Famed investor Michael Burry on Monday revealed a regulatory filing a short position against Tesla worth more than $500 million. Burry, one of the first investors to call and profit from the subprime mortgage crisis, is long puts against 800,000 shares of Tesla. Investors profit from puts when the underlying securities fall in prices. As of March 31st, Burry owned 8,001 put contracts with unknown value, strike price, or expiry, according to the filing. Shares of Tesla fell more than 4% on Monday, bringing its month-to-date losses to nearly 20%. Burry, whose firm is Scion Asset Management, shot to fame by betting against mortgage securities before the 2008 crisis. Burry was depicted in Michael Lewis' book, The Big Short, and the subsequent Oscar-winning movie of the same name. Tesla has had a turbulent 2021 amid slumping sales in China in April and part shortages that impeded production both in the US and China. Tesla's 2021 sell-off topping off around $900 and now trading under $600. Burry previously mentioned in a tweet, which he later deleted, that Tesla's reliance on regulatory credits to generate profits is a red flag. As more automakers produce battery electric vehicles of their own, ostensibly fewer will need to purchase environmental regulatory credits from Tesla, which they have done in order to become compliant with the environmental regulations. Besides his Big Short, Burry made a killing from a long GameStop position recently as the Reddit favorite made Wall Street history with its massive short squeeze. In the first quarter of 2021, Tesla reported $518 million in sales of regulatory credits, which Elon Musk's company generally received from the government programs to support renewable energy. It has sold these to other automakers, notably FCA, now Stellantis, when they needed credits to offset their own carbon footprint. In the fourth quarter of 2020, Tesla's $270 million in net income was enabled by its sales of $401 million in regulatory credits to other automakers. Tesla's historically racked up around $1.6 billion in regulatory energy credits, primarily zero-emission vehicle credits, which helped Tesla report more than 4 consecutive quarters of profitability, qualifying Elon Musk automaker for addition to the S&P 500 index. Tesla is currently delayed in producing and delivering its updated version of its high-end sedan and SUV, the Model S and X. and it is delayed in commercial production of its custom-designed 4680 battery cells for use in forthcoming vehicles, including the Cybertruck and Tesla Semi. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's electric vehicle venture is facing regulatory scrutiny in China and in the US. High-profile crashes leading to negative publicity and investigations by vehicle safety authorities in both nations. Many believe that CEO Elon Musk's tweets about Bitcoin and Dogecoin have also contributed to the volatility in Tesla stock. Musk has tens of millions of followers on Twitter. Musk, a proponent of cryptocurrency, generally announced last week that Tesla was identifyingly suspending the acceptance of Bitcoin as a payment for cars, saying he was concerned by the rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions. Tesla revealed earlier this year that it had bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Tesla shares have dropped nearly 20% since 2021 after surging a whopping 740% in 2020. Michael Burry is a seasoned professional with ample amount of patience. It will be interesting to see how Burry makes out at the end of this short. No one knows how long dated his put options are or if he already sold and is out with some nice profits. And that wraps it up for today's market news.